I stood in the kitchen, my hands shaking as I clutched the acceptance letter from the art school I'd dreamed of attending. My mom's voice cut through the air, sharp and cold. "You're abandoning us for some silly dream? You're so selfish, eh?" Her words hit like a punch, and my family's disappointed faces burned into my mind. How could chasing my passion feel so wrong? Before I dive into this wild story, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe, and stay tuned. I stared at the letter, my heart racing. It said I got into the New York Academy, my dream school. I'd spent years sketching in my room, hiding my drawings from everyone. Now, I have a chance to make art my life. But my stomach twisted. My family needed me here. Dad's shop was struggling, and Mom always said family comes first. I wanted to tell them, but fear stopped me at tea dinner. I tried to speak. "I got news," I said, my voice shaky. Mom looked up, hopeful, probably thinking I got a job at the local store. Dad grunted, cutting his steak. My brother, Jake, rolled his eyes. "What now, Mea?" he asked. I held the letter tight under the table, unable to say it. Their faces already felt like judgment that I finally told them after dinner. "I got into art school," I said, holding up the letter. Mom's face fell. "Art? You're leaving us for that?" she snapped. Dad didn't look up from his coffee. Jake laughed, saying, "You think you're some big artist now?" Their words stung, but I tried to explain. I loved art. It was my dream. Mom stood, her voice loud. "We're drowning in bills, MIA. You should be helping, not running off." I felt my chest tighten. I wanted to scream that I deserved this, but guilt stopped me. Was I selfish? I went to my room, staring at my sketches, wondering if I could ever make them proud. I couldn't sleep that night. My sketchbook lay open, my latest drawing half finished, a city skyline I imagined in New York. I wanted to go so bad, but Mom's words echoed, "You're abandoning us." I thought about Dad's shop, how he worked late to keep it open. Maybe I could stay and help. But art was my heart. In the morning, I called my best friend, Sarah. "What do I do?" I asked. She listened, then said, "Meh, you can't give up your dream. They'll understand one day." Her words gave me hope, but I wasn't sure. I looked at the letter again, my future in my hands, and made a choice that I decided to go. Packing my bags felt like betraying my family. I folded my clothes, tucking my sketchbook between them. Every creak of the floor made me jump, like Mom might burst in and yell. I kept imagining their disappointed faces, but I had to do this. New York was waiting when I told Jake. He shrugged. "Good luck, I guess," he said, but his voice was cold. Mom didn't speak to me all day. Dad just nodded, like he didn't care. I wanted them to be proud, but they weren't. As I zipped my suitcase, I wondered if I'd ever come back. The bus station was cold and grey. I hugged my suitcase, my heart heavy. Mom came to see me off, but her eyes were distant. "You're making a mistake," she said softly. I wanted to hug her, but I just nodded. Dad didn't come. Jake texted me, "Don't mess up." It hurt as the bus pulled away. I watched my small town fade. I felt free but scared. My sketchbook was in my lap, my only comfort. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing, but I was going to New York. I hoped I'd prove them wrong. New York was loud and bright, nothing like home. I stepped off the bus, my suitcase dragging behind me. The city smelled like hot dogs and car fumes. I felt small but excited. My dorm at the Art Academy was tiny, with bare walls. I taped up a sketch to make it mine. That night, I called Mom. She didn't answer. I texted Jake, but he didn't reply either. I sat on my bed, staring at my sketchbook. The city was my dream, but I felt alone. I picked up a pencil and started drawing, hoping art would keep me going. The Art Academy was huge, with paint-splattered halls and students everywhere. My first class was figure drawing. The teacher, Ms. Carter, had sharp eyes but a kind smile. She said, "Art is truth." I liked that. I sketched a model, my hand moving fast. For once, I felt like I belonged at tea lunch. I met Lila, a girl with bright red hair. She was loud and funny, and we clicked. Why'd you come here? She asked. I told her about my family, how they called me selfish. She frowned. They'll see you're not. Keep drawing. Her words made me smile. Days later classes got harder. I stayed up late, perfecting my sketches. My eyes burned, but I loved it. Still, I missed home. I called Mom again, and this time she answered. You okay? She asked, her voice flat. I said yes, but she hung up fast. I felt like I was losing them. Lila noticed my mood. Families are tough, she said, handing me coffee. Mine didn't get me either. We talked for hours, and I felt less alone. But at night, I dreamed of Mom's disappointed face, wondering if I'd ever fix things. The academy held a student art show. I submitted a painting of my town skyline, full of soft colors. I was nervous, but Ms. Carter loved it. You've got heart, May, she said. At the show, people smiled at my work. Lila hugged me, screaming, You're amazing. When I called home to share the news, Dad answered. Sounds nice, he said, but he didn't ask more. I hung up, my chest tight. Lila dragged me to a diner to celebrate. They'll come around, she said. I wanted to believe her, but doubt lingered. I got a job at a coffee shop to pay for supplies. One night, after a long shift, Jake called. Mom's upset, he said. She thinks you don't care. I explained I was trying to follow my dream, but he cut me off. You left us, May. I cried after we hung up. Lila found me in the dorm, upset. You're not selfish, she said firmly. You're brave. She showed me her own paintings, bold and wild. It inspired me to keep going, but I still felt torn between my dream and my family. School got tougher. My latest project, a portrait, wasn't good enough for Ms. Carter. Dig deeper, May, she said. I felt like a failure. At the coffee shop, I spilled a latte and got yelled at. I missed home, even the fights. Was this dream worth it? I wasn't sure anymore. That night, I sketched Mom's face from memory. Her eyes looked sad, like in real life. Lila saw it and said, That's powerful. But I didn't feel powerful. I called Sarah back home. Am I crazy for doing this? I asked. She said, You're growing. Keep going. I hoped she was right. Jake showed up in New York unannounced. He stood in my dorm, looking out of place. Mom's sick, he said. My heart sank. She had a bad cough, and Dad was stressed. Jake blamed me. If you were home, things would be better. I felt guilt crush me. I showed Jake my art. He didn't say much, but he lingered on my town painting. It's okay, he mumbled. After he left, I cried. I wanted to go home, but I had a big project due. Lila hugged me. You're not alone, she said. I held on to that. I worked harder on my art. Ms. Carter noticed. You're finding your voice, she said. I painted a piece about Mom, her hands worn from work. It felt honest. At the coffee shop, I saved tips for a bus ticket home. I needed to see Mom. Lila helped me balance school and work. You're strong, Mia, she said. But I didn't feel strong. I called Dad to check on Mom. She's better, he said, his voice soft. He didn't mention my art, but he asked how I was. It was enough for now. I took a bus home for the weekend. The town looked smaller. Mom was in the kitchen, looking tired but better. She hugged me, but it felt stiff. You look different, she said. I told her about school, but she changed the subject. It hurt. At dinner, Dad asked about my classes. I showed them a photo of my mom painting. Jake snorted, but Mom stared at it. That's me, she asked quietly. I nodded. She didn't say more, but her eyes softened. I left feeling a tiny bit of hope. Back at school, my mom's painting got picked for a gallery. Ms. Carter beamed. This is your best work, May. I felt proud but scared. What if my family saw it? I invited them, but I didn't expect them to come. Lila helped me frame it. The gallery night was busy. My painting hung under bright lights. People whispered about it. Lila squeezed my hand. You did it, she said. I smiled, but my eyes kept darting to the door, hoping for Mom's face in the crowd. Mom and Jake walked into the gallery. I froze. Mom wore her old coat, looking out of place. Jake avoided my eyes. I showed them my painting. Mom stared, her hand touching the frame. "You see me like this?" she asked. I nodded, scared. She didn't say much, but she stayed for the whole event. Jake mumbled, "It's cool." As they left, Mom hugged me tight. "I'm trying to understand," she whispered. I cried after they were gone, feeling lighter than ever. School was crazy after the gallery. I got more projects, and my coffee shop shifts felt endless. But Mom's hug stayed with me. I called her more, and she listened. "I'm proud," she said once, and I almost dropped the phone. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. Lila and I planned a new art show together. We laughed, sketching late at night. I still felt guilty sometimes, but I knew I wasn't selfish. I was building a life I loved, and maybe my family was starting to see that. A big project failed. Ms. Carter said my work lacked focus. I felt crushed. At the coffee shop, I broke a machine and got yelled at again. I called Sarah, crying. "What if I'm not good enough?" I asked. She said, "You're enough. Keep trying." Lila dragged me to a park to sketch. "Forget school," she said. "Draw for you." I sketched a tree, and it felt good. I realized I'd been pushing too hard. I needed to find my spark again. For me, not anyone else. Dad came to New York for a delivery job. He visited my dorm, looking awkward. I showed him my new sketches. "You're talented," he said, his voice gruff. It was the first time he'd said it. I smiled, my heart full. He stayed for coffee. We talked about the shop. It was doing better. He asked about my art, really listening. As he left, he hugged me. "Keep going, MAA," he said. I felt like a weight had been lifted. My family wasn't all the way there, but they were trying. My last big show at the academy was coming. I painted a huge piece, a family at a table, faces soft but strong. It was us, my family. Lila helped me finish it. "This is you, MAA," she said. I invited my whole family, hoping they'd come. The night was electric. My painting glowed under the lights. People loved it. I stood by it, nervous. Then I saw them, Mom, Dad, Jake, all there. Mom's eyes were wet. "It's beautiful," she said. I hugged her, feeling whole. After the show, a gallery owner, Mr. Lee, approached me. He liked my family painting and offered me a spot in a summer exhibit. "You've got talent, MIA," he said. My heart raced. This could be my big break. Lila screamed when I told her, hugging me tight at the dorm. I called Mom to share the news. "That's great," she said, her voice warmer than before. But she added, "Don't forget us." I promised I wouldn't. I stared at my sketchbook, excited but scared. Could I balance my dream and my family? The summer exhibit meant more work. I spent nights painting, my hands stained with color. Ms. Carter pushed me hard. "This is your moment, MIA," she said. But I was tired. The coffee shop cut my hours, and money was tight. I felt like I was slipping. Lila noticed my stress. "Take a break," she urged, dragging me to a movie. It helped, but when I got back, Jake texted, "Mom's worried you're gone for good." I called her, promising to visit soon. I wanted to make everyone proud, but it was hard. I went home for a weekend. Mom looked healthier, and Dad's shop was busier. We sat in the kitchen, and I showed them sketches for the exhibit. Jake said, "They're cool." Mom smiled, touching one. "You're doing big things," she said. It felt good at night. I walked to my old park, sketching the swings. I thought about New York, my art, my family. I wasn't selfish, I was just MIA. I went back to the city with a new idea for my exhibit painting, inspired by my home. The summer exhibit was huge. My painting, a mix of my town and New York skyline, hung in the center. I wore a simple dress, my hands shaking. Lila stood by me, grinning. "You're a star," she said. People crowded around, praising my work. Mom, Dad, and Jake came. Mom hugged me, tears in her eyes. "I'm so proud," she whispered. Dad nodded, smiling. Jake said, "Not bad, sis." I felt like I'd won. My family finally saw me, not as selfish, but as an artist. Back at school, I started my final year. The exhibit got me a small scholarship, easing money worries. I called home every week, and Mom sent me cookies. Dad even asked for a sketch for the shop. Jake texted me art memes, making me laugh. Lila and I planned a new project together. I wasn't scared anymore. My family didn't fully get art, but they got me. I kept painting, knowing I could chase my dream and still have them. I was home, in my heart, wherever I went.